Hello, viewers. Welcome to this edition of Real Talk with Papa Martins. On today's episode, we have a guest in the house all the way from South Africa. Our guest will introduce herself as we commence the show. I want to thank each and every one of you for always tuning in whenever we call upon you. Kindly remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel on Real Talk with Papa Martins. We're on Instagram on Real Talk with Papa Martins and on TikTok, Martins Anthony underscore 73. Thank you and God bless. Yes, good afternoon to you, Doreen.
Afternoon, Papa Martins. How are you?
Yes, how are you, please?
I'm very well, thanks.
It's amazing to have you today on the show.
Thanks for having me. It's actually an honor to be on this show.
Thank you so much for creating time. And today, as we kick off the show, we are looking at the topic trade marketing. Most people are so familiar with the broad knowledge of marketing. Quite a number of people are not aware of trade marketing. And I think it's something that it's important for us to bring to the attention of the viewers to learn a little bit more about trade marketing and see how that knowledge can be of help to them. So, as you start us off, what is trade marketing?
Okay, so trade marketing, if I would have to put it in real simple terms.
Kindly, before you go on, can you introduce yourself to the viewers, please?
Oh, sorry. So my name is Doreen. I'm Doreen Tumureebire, and I'm the trade marketing manager based in South Africa now. I was based in Tanzania for 2.5 years, working for a very prestigious FMCG, number one global company um, in the world, obviously. Yeah, and that's who I am.
Thank you, Doreen. Thank you. I don't know a little bit of audio from your side. I can't hear you very audibly. I don't know if our guests can hear you properly. But while you have introduced yourself, please can you tell us about trade marketing? What is trade marketing?
Okay, so trade marketing, in real simple terms, it's basically bringing our brands to life. Okay, so it's everything that you see below the line. Um, so it's basically planning and executing whatever plans are above the line, and how do you like literally physically bring those plans to life with the consumer at all the different levels of interaction with all types of customers, and how do you drive your strategy to be in sync with the marketing activities. So it's basically making sure that whatever plans any business has, how do we bring it to life? And that's literally what trade marketing is about. It's all below the
Oh,
line.
yeah. So is there any difference between the traditional marketing and trade marketing?
There's a huge difference. So, firstly, marketing is an activity where you process a lot of creativity around your communication, how you deliver any type of offerings of value to the customers, but it's all above the line creativity campaigns. What does above the line mean? Is all the adverts that you see on TV is coming from the marketing team. So it's above the line. It's through radio, it's through TV, small adverts that you see here and there. So the marketing team does all the research to understand what is needed in the market. And based on that research, they come up with the product with all the other departments, and they find a creative way from top to bottom of how to make that product exciting for the consumers. And they manage that entire process, from the labels to the adverts to all of that stuff. So once they've come up with the big idea, the massive campaign, then they hand it over to the trade marketing team, and they say, here's the big campaign, bring it to life. So marketing does above the line, and trade marketing does below the line. So we take those massive ideas, the new products that want to be introduced, and then we strategize and see, when do we introduce it to the market? How do we introduce it to the market? through what activities? Is it via events? Is it bringing awareness through posters? So anything physical or any interaction that is on the ground is then done by the trade marketing team. So that's the big difference. They're creative, they do all the research and the hard work, and then we take that and then bring it to life to interact and engage the consumers to make sure that that turns out into a real sale. And that's the major difference.
Okay, so thank you. That's a very elaborate explanation, but I want us to come down to the layman's terminology. And before I take you up on that, so trade marketing, those of you who are involved in trade marketing, how are you called? Are you called trade marketers? What are the terms used for you guys?
So the department I work in is the trade marketing department. And
Mhm.
within that department, there are many heads that fit that puzzle to make it a whole picture. So you will have a promotions department within trade marketing. Um, and they run with all campaigns. So if there's, for example, a massive campaign around Coca-Cola, for example. They take that idea and they create lovely promotions that you find in store. Buy two for one deal. Manage that budget as well. If there are any promoter girls that you see at the supermarket that are making you sample and taste, that comes from the promotions department. So they sit and analyze which area to target, what's our occasion that we're trying to achieve, what time is the best time to go to the specific areas, and why are we going there, what are we trying to achieve, what sales are we hoping to get out of it so that we make return on investment, or is it purely just a sampling activity? So they come up with that engagement plan of how to promote whatever it is we're trying to promote. And then you have a purely events team. So, there's a lot of events that happen everywhere. People are always looking for sponsorships. And that's where our sponsorship letters go to. That's where we have all the massive events that you see anywhere comes from the events department, which reports into trade marketing. And they also try to link whatever activity that within that month that we're trying to promote. I'll bring the Coke idea again. If we're promoting a two for one for Coke or whichever brand, I don't necessarily work for Coke. Um, then they take that also into their events so that whatever you see on TV from marketing, you see it at the stores when you visit them. And when you go to an event, it's the same message. So that's sort of like through the line communication. And that's why you have above the line, below the line, and it all happens through the line. Um, and then you've also got, the very smart people that are technical that will manage the performance of whatever activity we're doing. So I also have a department that manages our assets. Um, and how to sweat our assets, and to make sure that we get good return, that we maintain them. And assets can vary from anything. So equipment that you use at events is an asset. Those gazebos that everybody sees or the tents that you walk into, you just walk in there. It doesn't just happen. So we have to budget for it. What are we going to use it for? Make sure that we get, a cost, you optimize our costs when we're purchasing assets, and what return are we going to get from having those assets. And return can be exclusivity on visibility. So that means we don't want to see any other brand except ours at that specific event or activity that we're running, um, etc. And assets can also be fridges, which fridges depreciate over time. We need to make sure that nobody steals them. So that also falls under trade marketing. And then you've got the analytical guys that track performance for all those departments and whatever they do.
Wow. Thank you for those detailed explanation. Thank you so much. Now, coming back to trade marketing. So, the trade marketing department is basically uh, in charge of the production line of the corporation. So whatever goes out there is determined by the people in the trade marketing department.
Not necessarily. So, if there's a product line that they want to bring out, they do come to us to consult to see if it makes sense because we are the closest people on the ground to tell you if it's practical or not. Trade marketing department is in the middle. So we literally the gatekeepers for anything that goes out. So at the top, you'll have the big bosses want come up with a great idea because of the opportunity they've seen. The marketing team tries to make it happen with the manufacturing team. While they're doing all that research, they present it to us before they actually go through it all. And we tell them, yes, it'll work, or no, it will not work. To make it work, this is what we need to do. So we are the gatekeepers of whatever needs to go out. So we take that info, we give our info back, and once we are happy, including with the timeline for implementing it out into the market, that's when we communicate with the people on the ground. And if the people on the ground have an issue, they talk to us and we take it back to them. So we literally the middleman. We are the gatekeepers to say yes or no, or we do not want to do this, or we can do it, but we'll only do it on these terms. So we don't decide what goes out. We also get ideas from the bottom, the people on the ground, to tell us where the opportunities are. And that's when we take it to the top and say, look, this is what we're seeing on the ground. I've been there myself. Here's the opportunities, come up with a plan. Literally. So
Thank
we're
you.
just the
Thank you.
middleman.
Thank you so much. If you are just joining the show, this is We Talk with Papa Martins. And on today's episode, we are talking about trade marketing. Quite a number of people have so much knowledge about marketing on a broader level, but when it comes to trade marketing, is one aspect of marketing that is very silent. And I just thought it's something we should bring to the awareness of everyone so that we can be able to appreciate what goes on into the production of the product that we see out there. Now, according to what you are saying, there is a whole lot of difference between trade marketing and the marketing itself. Now, I want to understand. So, the trade marketing department, it's the heartbeat of any corporation.
Correct.
Is the heartbeat of any corporation. So another
Correct.
question I want to ask before I go to the main one is, so trade marketing is not a career as it is. Trade marketing, it's a combined effort. I don't know how to put that, but as an expert, I need you to explain. You work with an international, I mean, a global corporation. So,
Correct.
trade marketing, is it something that is left to an individual? Is it a career or is it a departmental thing?
So it is a department in a lot of FMCG organizations, even non-FMCG organizations are using it. I have interacted with people from the bank and they have a trade marketing department. From my experience, I can definitely say for free, it's not something you can go to varsity and tick, you want to become a trade marketer. Definitely not. Okay. But it is available out there in majority of the organizations globally. Um, it's a skill that you learn when you start from the bottom because you need to be in touch with what's happening with your consumers, with your customers. You need to be practical as the gatekeeper or the heartbeat of the organization. The biggest challenge in trade marketing is that it's not specialized, it's not focused, one focused dimension. As I mentioned to you, I've got like five different departments within trade marketing. Unlike marketing, you literally specialized on how to design, what colors to use, what insights to look at, or like an engineer or a corporate affairs person or a lawyer in any department or in any organization for that matter. Those are specialized. Trade marketing is not a specialized thing. You have to be very versatile and flexible, easily adaptable, because you've got so many moving parts that need to make sure that you deliver and implement on time and get that return when you do deliver. and because the world is forever changing and things are so volatile, like for example, now technology or digital transformation is the biggest thing due to the recent pandemic. So if you are not easily adaptable and able to move with the change today, then you will not survive in trade marketing. It changes every single day. You have to be physically visible out in the market all the time with everything that you run. Like my promotions department, I go and check up on how the promoters are actually doing it. What's the feedback about the promotion we're running? Is it actually effective, or should we change it? How are people receiving it? When we run events, I go to events and check out the events at night. So I'm not just partying at night, I'm literally working. Um, because all of it is linked to ensuring that our business achieves their end goal. If we do not implement any of the strategies, then we will not be a sustainable business. We will not make any profit out of it. So, yeah, it's not specialized. It's not something you can go to varsity and ask to become. But when you do enter any organization, it is available. And you just have to work your way up and find someone to help you go through that path to achieve, that career aspiration.
Oh, thank you so much for that. So going forward, according to you, with your vast experience in this field, even though it's not a specialized one, uh, so what are the importance of trade marketing department to a corporation? Can a corporation really survive or meet its standard or compete effectively if they don't have this unit?
Definitely not, because of the extent of detail that an analysis that goes into any activity that we do. You'll be too stretched and might miss out on opportunities or even miss an important point that you would typically get if you were really focusing on trade marketing aspects. So, in my view, definitely, it'll be very difficult because you'll be widely stretched and you won't be as successful or reach your potential that you should. Because everybody else is specialized in what they do. Supply is specialized, manufacturing is specialized, marketing is specialized. And to bring all those great things into the market, you need the trade marketing department to do that.
So, are there tools that make trade marketing effective?
Oh, there's many tools without giving out our strategy.
Yeah.
So I would say, for example, in the promotions department or in anything that we do, we try to ensure that we have external and internal visibility. And we measure ourselves through that. And we try to optimize our investment on our visibility out there. Because at the end of the day, what the mind sees is what the mind believes. And it's very costly to try and make everybody see your brand. So you have to optimize your visibility. So deploying any visibility aspects is one of the things that we need to make sure we do. And that's how we measure ourselves. And remember, whatever we do has to be measurable. The whole SMART slogan. Um, and that's one of the outputs to doing it. Then you've also got our campaigns that we measure ourselves against, which is run nationally. We've got our assets, our budget, which is what I explained earlier on. How to do it? It's You don't really have resources. The only resources we have is a strategy that we're trying to implement. So we take whatever the strategy is for the year, for the next 3 years, for the next 5 years, and we come up with the plan based on a triangle of outputs that need to be achieved and how to achieve it. And that's literally it. Of course, we do a lot of training. We utilize a lot of digital platforms to try and get us to that sweet spot of where and how we need to execute whatever it is we need to execute. We use a lot of third parties, suppliers as well to try and help us cover and reach scale, and also to do mystery shopping, because I can't be at every place at the same time. So we rely on external parties to support us. We rely on external parties to do what we can't do physically, so that we can spread ourselves and create a massive wow effect out in the market. So yeah.
So basically, to help a layman understand what you are saying, some of the tools for trade marketing will be your own marketing strategy as a corporation and your trade
Correct.
secret, which you cannot let out.
Yes,
Okay,
I'll
yeah,
have
those
to
are, I
mentor
mean,
you offline.
those are the ambiguous one. Now,
Yes,
can we say that the way you brand yourself is part of your tools?
yes, you can say that. Yes, yes,
So your branding is part of the trade marketing tool because that
yeah,
is what gives you the appropriate visibility and
correct,
attract your clients to you.
correct, correct.
Okay, thank you
Yeah.
for that clarity. So, are there different types of trade marketing or yeah, maybe trade marketing? Like for instance, you are into production and your product ends with the consumers. But in between that, there is the production, there is the supply, the retailers. I mean, so are there different categories of trade marketing?
Um, Not necessarily. I mean, the different departments is the categories. I think from the promotions department, we must be able to implement. So how you strategize on how to implement the process there defines the different categories. Where to go, what rewards to give, how to activate, all of that. Then you'll get to events, and events must also implement that strategy. Where to go, how to do it, what to implement. Then you'll get the assets. What equipment do we need to do all of that? Then you'll get your campaign execution. What materials do you need to execute that? So all the departments are linked. It's just the process that you define in each department that sort of becomes that version of supply and all of that. Yeah, and it's very important to ensure that all stakeholders are involved in that process, because they're relying on trade marketing to get it out there. So we have to keep in touch with supply. Which date is the product coming out? When will it be available for order? So everything is about timing and flexibility. So today they'll say the product's coming out on the 6th. Then they'll say, sorry, we messed up. It's actually coming out on the 13th. So we have to change all the plans to the 13th. So there's a lot of parties and processes involved to making sure that we get it to the market and we create the awareness that it needs. We bring the brand to life, literally, like the engagement and the execution, and the timing is also very important. Yeah.
Wow, amazing. So basically, trade marketing is a multifaceted department that cannot be handled by one single individual.
Yep. You
Yeah,
definitely need
another
a team.
thing, yeah, you take it up, yes?
Now, I'm saying you definitely need a team. You
Hmm.
definitely can't do it by yourself. And you definitely must be flexible and adaptable to change, because you can't predict if you'll get enough supplies to be able to execute as per the deadline. And sometimes things don't work out. So you have to either pilot it and see how it works while you're waiting for everything, or depending on the market, you send everything out at once. So it needs someone with silver blood, because you'll end up having high blood pressure if you
Hmm.
if you can't handle the pressure well.
Okay. Going a little bit back to what you said earlier. So, in a corporation, there is the executives, the decision makers, as it were, and then there is what the corporation wants to give out as their services or products. Now, there is the trade marketing unit that is in between, and there is the field workers, the marketers who goes out to look. Is that a demographic study about what is on the ground, or do you call it visibility study about what is going on and how the product? So basically, in a corporation, whatever the trade marketing department says, they are the one who calls the final shot.
No, it's a collective decision because, like you said, there are people on the ground. You always have reps, right? Every industry has business development reps or representatives that goes from store to check up on whatever they're checking up. And those are the guys that ultimately need to make sure that the product is in. So my department communicates with them and they cascade to them. So you have to be a very good communicator. You have to be able to teach them what they need to do to sell it in. All the tools that they need to sell it in as well has to always be available before the break date. So I'd say the final decision is with the MD of the business. And that's why it's important. Like I said, it's a joint effort. We strategize together. We host a lot of meetings together. As the head of trade marketing, all the heads sit in one room. We agree, we talk it out, strategize. Then when we separate, we go to our team and then we sit with them and sell it to them and see what do they think. Will it work? Will it not? Because remember, in the position that I sit today, I am also a leader, not just a manager, but I'm also not an expert like my team. So we rely a lot on the experts below, but we guide them, as a leader, so then we take it to them and we strategize and then we come back to the table and say, this is what we can do. So it's a joint effort. It's not a decision that one man makes. It's a collaboration. It's very important to collaborate, to communicate, to be adaptable, and to be flexible today, and techno savvy.
Okay, that is clear enough. Uh, if you are just joining the show, this is Real Talk with Papa Martins, and today we are having this very insightful discussion on trade marketing. And today, Doreen is opening my eyes to see some very new things about trade marketing. Basically, I normally think that trade marketing is something that you take up as a profession, as an individual, but she's making us to realize trade marketing is a collective effort. It's a multifaceted department in any corporation. As we are trying to wind up today, because she's a very busy woman, so what does it take for a corporation to put up a trade marketing unit, understanding that sometimes you start small and then you grow bigger?
In my view, I think it all depends on the funds available because you have to pay people to do that. It's about optimization, right? And on top of that, you need to ensure that you have the right people who have the skills to perform the different jobs required within that department. So I will not hire a guy who loves maths and wants to sit behind his computer all day to do events, for example. An events manager, is outgoing, networking, understands what the gives and gets are because you don't just sponsor events, we need to get return on events as well. So it's very important to, first of all, have the right people. You can't do it if you do not have people. And then second of all, you need to have the budget to do it and to optimize it and be fair. And need to have the right skills and to continuously conduct training because there's a lot of change that happens out there. Um, And you can't assume somebody who's been in that position for like 20 years still knows what's going on. So, a lot of training and updating people's skills is required. So you must have budget to try and cater for that. So I've been through a lot of training in the past 2 years. I don't know how I made it and still did my job. Um, but I can definitely tell you it's added a lot of value in my life, personal and work wise. And I think those are the basic necessities to ensure that you can start up your department and that they can be able to work, they're capable and also willing. So, when I said having the right people, it's one thing having people there to work, but if they're not willing to do it or motivated to do it, then as a leader, you're not doing your job well. So yeah, so capability, willingness, money, and ability is important.
Yeah, the Bible says money answereth all things.
But
Yeah, thank you so
optimizing
much.
that funds is of key importance as well. You can't
Yeah,
just spend and spend and not get
wow,
return, then the business will crumble.
wow, wow. Well understood. And finally, before we go, so what will be your final words to somebody out there who is also planning to put up something? Just your final thoughts. You want to go into corporation, you want to go into entrepreneurship. What can you tell them?
Um, I can tell them the only person you are really competing with is the person in the mirror.
I'm losing your voice.
I'm saying I could tell them the only person that you're competing with is the person in the mirror. The only thing that one can only doubt is your limitations. And that's literally it. So if you want to do something, stay focused, be open to learning, and you have no limit. Um, yeah, and you're only competing with yourself. The world will always give you a lot of noise. There'll be a lot of noise about why not, especially in organizations, if you are in an organization or even if you want to start up something. So be open. Um, there's no limit. And yeah, and compete with yourself.
Thank you so much, Doreen, for making time to come on the show. I really appreciate. As we bring this show to a close today on Real Talk with Papa Martins, according to Doreen, if you want to start something, be open, stay focused. You are only competing with yourself. You don't need to mind what the world is going to say. You have what it takes. Take the first step. Start from where you are with what you have, and what you need will find you. Thank you, Doreen. Until I come on your view next time on Real Talk with Papa Martins, stay safe and have a good afternoon, everyone. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.